These are the design trends that secretly look like you spent a fortune but are actually super affordable. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. If you don't know, my name is Cooper, and today we're going to be talking about some design trends that I actually love. If you've watched my channel before, I love to hate on design trends all the time, but in truth, we wouldn't have any good design if we didn't have trends, because that's where a lot of the creativity comes from. So we're not going to be talking about the same tired boucle chairs or luxury Amazon lamps. We're going to be talking about things that are elevated, bold, timeless, and almost editorial. Trends that will really make your space feel custom, even if you're on a budget. First up is going to have to be sculptural lighting. Now, you guys, this is a little bit of a hard trigger to pull because sculptural lighting can be pretty pricey, but if you spend, $100 or $200 on a really sculptural and cool lamp, it can really make a huge difference. And I'm not talking about the same spindly Sputnik chandeliers from 2017 or cloud lamp that's been in every apartment on TikTok. I'm talking about intentional, moody, and architectural forms that look like a collectible. I would say that the best sculptural lighting is usually brutalist influenced or handmade ceramics. You can find a ton of these on Etsy, and one of my favorite sites is actually called Vakerlight or Vakerlight. I don't know how to pronounce it, but this is not sponsored. They just are a really great website for finding some cool lighting. But you can literally replace one sad small floor lamp in your living room with something sculptural, and suddenly the room will look designed. See, lighting is very important because your eye is drawn to it. It produces light, so naturally you're going to look towards it. So it should not be an afterthought in your home. You want to have layered lighting, so this would mean pendant lights, floor lamps, sconces, table lamps, all of that. I've talked about it a million times, but it really does make that big of a difference, so it is 100% worth it. I've been looking at a really cool floor lamp for my living room to get in the future. It's called the Noctambule floor lamp, I believe, and it is very, very pricey, but honestly, I think it will be worth it for me in the long run, especially because I moved into a new place a couple months ago, and previously I had lived in apartments and really rushed into things a little bit too fast, even though interior decorating is my job. I got caught up in things and kind of just, wanted it to be finished. And so now I've kind of downsized all of that stuff and really started from scratch. And I'm slowly investing in things that are really going to be treasures to me and really enhance my space and be something unique. You also might be saying, Cooper, where am I supposed to find these amazing, cool lights? You know what I'm saying? Well, like I said before, Vakerlight is a really good place to find them. You can also look on Facebook Marketplace. What I would say when it comes to Facebook Marketplace is you got to check it pretty often. You can't go on once a month or twice a month and find something cool because all of the good stuff on there gets snatched up immediately. You can also go on to resale websites like Cherish and Etsy, and you can search up studio style lamp or plaster light sculpture. And honestly, I think you'll be shocked for what comes up under $200. This next one is probably the most affordable thing that you can do for your home to really upgrade it and make it feel custom, and that's going to be painting, specifically color drenching a room. This is a trend that emerged maybe last year or the year before, where you paint everything, the walls, the trim, the baseboards, the same color to create this really unique and stylish space that kind of envelops you in the room. Now, I wouldn't say that color drenching as a whole is timeless, but I would say doing it in certain colors definitely is. Color drenching in deep, natural tones is something that I think can really elevate your space, especially if you're on a budget. Everyone likes to talk about beige or grayish walls, or just throw in a little pale olive green situation. But if you want your house to actually age well and be something show-stopping for people to walk into, a single color wall-to-wall used on the trim, the ceiling, and even incorporated into the furniture, it'll make things feel cohesive, rich, and intentional. I recently just color drenched my bedroom, and honestly, I could not be more happy with that decision. I live in a super old house with really old fixtures, and it definitely hasn't been given a nice new coat of paint in a long time, and color drenching the space really modernized it quite a lot. It made it feel new and fresh and unique, and it really elevated my bedroom, even though it has pretty much no furniture in it, because I did just move in. And guys, you can do this in a rental. I am in a rental. I just did this. If you're gonna be there for a little bit more more long term, this is definitely going to be something that's worth it. What I would recommend here is color matching your curtains or going for something a little bit darker. You just really have to go for it and commit to it. Because if you try and half do it or just do a little bit, it's not going to work. It's not going to look good. The best design decisions, in my opinion, are ones that are risks, because these are going to have the most impact. They're going to be really bold and unique and creative. And all of this is very doable. I think in total, me having no paint supplies for all of the paint and all of everything for painting my bedroom, it was only about $250, which I think is pretty manageable if you save up a little bit. It definitely makes my home feel a lot more custom. Now, this next design trend is something that you've probably heard about before, but I think it's worth it to reiterate and talk about a little bit. And that's going to be vintage chrome and mirrored furniture. And honestly, I'm a little bit iffy on this. If this is trendy or timeless, I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments. But this one has really been starting to kind of bubble up in the last couple of years, along with the mid-century movement. I think that it helps make small spaces feel a lot bigger, reflects light, and can really add a unique edge to the room. I think that we're going to really start seeing this in the mainstream a lot more this year. But honestly, this mirrored trend is something that you can totally jump on right now, because I think that it's been kind of out of style or out of the loop for a while, which means that you can find it for pretty cheap online. You just have to look up the right words. If you look up chrome table online, you're going to spend $1 billion on, whatever you're trying to buy. But if you look up glam side table, nobody likes glam style, but sometimes there'll be a couple pieces in there kind of thrown in that people don't really know how to name that will really be what you're looking for. So you have to kind of, work around the wording that's used for the trends nowadays and kind of try and come up with something that falls along similar lines to give you a similar result. You can look for pieces that are labeled Hollywood Regency or vintage mirrored console, and I think you'll find some pieces that are worth probably $800 that you could get for under $100. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is something that I think a lot of people are scared of in their own homes, and that's going to be asymmetry. I think a lot of us are kind of taught that you need to have symmetry when it comes to interior design and interior decorating, but that is absolutely not the case. Things don't need to be symmetrical on both sides of your bed. You don't need to have two chairs across from your couch in your living room. Every builder grade space comes with this sad stage symmetrical blueprint: couch against the wall, coffee table in the middle, TV stand across from that with a TV on it. It's flat, expected, and frankly boring. But the moment you start to break that symmetry, say placing your sofa away from the wall or using mismatched chairs in your living room, you start to introduce designer level intention. Designers tend to charge thousands of dollars on layout alone because it changes the way the space feels emotionally. Do you want your space to go from it's nice to I want to move in now? Get outside the box, make it interesting, stop doing all this boring stuff. You can also play with what you already own. You don't need to buy a bunch of new things and spend a ton of money on this or that. Just think about how it's placed and maybe go down to the thrift store and buy a couple vintage art pieces. Try putting your bed a little off center and put one of those really cool sculptural lamps that we were talking about next to it. It'll start to feel curated and interesting. Next is oversized textile art. Now, this is a little bit of a tricky topic because you can either find them for really cheap or they're going to cost you $1,000. And we want them to be really cheap. But the basis here is skip the tire gallery wall trend. It's boring, it's overdone, whatever. Hang a quilt, a vintage tapestry, or a floor-to-ceiling curtain behind your couch. Textile art is seriously something that's timeless across cultures. There are so many great ones from Japan, Mexico, and Scandinavia that have been doing this long before Pinterest, and the impact that it creates is really substantial. You can check eBay for a vintage batik, or go to an estate sale and find a quilt with a really interesting pattern. Frame it or hang it with curtain rods, and suddenly it's artwork. You guys, we can do this. This is not a difficult task. You just have to get your butt off the chair and go to the store and find something interesting. You're putting in no effort and you're just clicking buy again on Amazon, and it's gotta stop. I've said this a million times, but we live in this culture of overconsumption and it's seriously a problem. You don't need to buy the latest whatever. Just go down to the thrift store and find something that you like. It doesn't matter if your mom likes it, your sister likes it, your best friend likes it, whatever. It matters that you like it in your home at the end of the day. So please follow that and don't follow all of these different things that are telling you to buy, line art, posters or whatever. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is something that's really not mentioned in the zeitgeist, and that is architectural painting techniques. Picture a basic accent wall. Nope, we're getting rid of that. Bye. Instead, try subtle shadow boxing with a single color, a faux panel grid, or tone-on-tone stripes using matte and satin finish in the same shade. This can really add some depth and drama to your space, and adds in the illusion of built-in detail when it could just be a matter of buying a different finish of paint. All you need here is some painter's tape and a steady hand, and you're all good. It'll look like it was custom made for your home, but it's just paint. So the next time you see a $20,000 designer room on your feed, don't assume that it's out of reach or unattainable. These trends are proof that thoughtful, timeless design doesn't have to require a massive budget. It just takes a little bit of creativity, be a little scrappy, and refusing to settle for something boring and basic. If you're really struggling with your own space, you can always hire me as your interior decorator. I would absolutely love to help you, no matter how big or small your space is. There's a ton of great information about that on my website, and if you made it this far in the video, I would really appreciate if you could like and subscribe. You guys know I'm here every Sunday with you, hanging out, and it really does make a big difference. As usual, you can find me on all social media platforms at cooper.osinski, and maybe send this video to your mom or your boring friend who really needs some help with their space. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week.